to be teaching you how to use GIMP today. So let's go ahead and think about how do you open it. Well, I've got this little GIMP guy down here on my bottom bar. I can open him from there. You might have him on your desktop, or you might have to just go in and do a search for GIMP. And hopefully you'll be able to find the GIMP program that you downloaded at the beginning of the block. And if you need to download GIMP, you can just go to gimp.org. So once you're inside GIMP, these little areas over here, these are called docs, okay? So these are like your tools over here, and when you hover your cursor over them, you'll notice it tells you what they are. There's the rectangle select tool, the ellipse select tool, the free select, that's where you can draw around something to select it. This is the fuzzy select tool. We're going to use this today. It's going to be really fun. Another tool we're going to be using today is the zoom tool. And so basically today we're just going to be using fuzzy select and zoom. And then down here are the tool options. So when you click on a tool, they're going to have their own options. Right now you'll notice that the tool that's selected is the airbrush tool, and these are the airbrush tool options, okay? And then the other thing that's important today is the layers. We are going to be using layers, okay? So if you don't have some of these docs up, if some of them are missing, where you're going to find them is in Windows. So click on Windows, and sometimes you'll notice I'm going to click Hide Docs. Watch what happens. Ah, they're gone. And you might accidentally hide your windows. And if that happens, like notice it says to click Tab. So what happens if I click Tab? Well, nothing, probably because I'm making a video. One of the things, but if I click on it again, it shows them. So one of the things I'm just going to warn you about is I'm making a video of myself using GIMP, and so sometimes GIMP malfunctions on me. I'm going to try not to make a big deal out of it, but occasionally you'll see me clicking on things and nothing's happening. That's because GIMP's malfunctioning. But on your computer, things will work perfectly. So you want to make sure that you have your layers over here. Where can you find your layers? Sometimes things get closed, and you can look in recently closed docs. Click on them if they're there. Or you can just go into the dockable dialogues, and this is all under the window menu. And there's your tool options. Those are your tool options over here, so if those disappeared, that's where you'd find them. Or if you couldn't find your layers, they're right there. And there's all kinds of other things that you could have showing in your windows. Okay. So the first thing you're going to have to do is go out and take those pictures. So this week we're focusing on emphasizing color in a black and white photo. So I want you to go out and shoot a picture of something that has like a really bright, vivid color in it, okay? And that color is different than the other things so that it stands out. And then we're going to turn the rest of the picture black and white. I'll show you what I mean. So I'm going to click open, and I've got this red lipstick photo that I'm starting out with. And the very first thing that I want to teach you how to do is bring your pictures in and adjust the brightness and contrast. This picture right here has a lot of midtones. It doesn't have a lot of like bright highlights or deep dark shadows, and so it's all just kind of dull. This is kind of what it looks like when you take a picture on a cloudy day. There's just not a lot of shadow and contrast. So we're going into the Colors tab, and you're going to find the Brightness and Contrast tool. So really, with every single picture you ever take for the rest of your life, I want you to adjust the brightness and contrast. Now, make sure that this preview box is checked. On your computer, because you're not making a video, when you adjust these sliders, you're going to be able to see the changes right in your image. I don't know. Yeah, okay, so I am able to see the changes right now. So you'll notice that just changing my contrast, look at that, no contrast. What is contrast? Contrast is the difference between the brightest whites and the deepest, darkest blacks, okay? So you'll notice there's a lot of contrast. Look at how the darks are getting darker and the lights are getting lighter, okay? But find that contrast that looks right for your image, and then you can also adjust the brightness here. So figure out what looks right, what makes that picture pop. Look at that. Don't you want that visual snap? So it looks like I've got a really nice color scheme going, and I'm going to click OK. Now, if you make mistakes, just hit Control Z. And if you want to redo, Control Y. So I can go back. I'm just holding down my Control button and hitting Z and Y. Z and Y. That's how you undo and redo. And you can undo multiple steps. So you can keep on undoing, undoing, undoing until you get to where you want to be. That comes in handy when you make a mistake. So now that you've got your brightness and contrast adjusted, you're going to come over here to your layer. Okay? And you're going to duplicate it by right-clicking on it. And there's a drop-down menu. And click Duplicate Layer. And then I want you to duplicate it one more time. Okay? So you've got your original here. These eyeballs, what they do is they show or hide that layer. So we're going to keep this bottom layer hidden, and we're also going to click right here, and you'll see that that is like a chain that connects. It's like locking it. So we're locking that layer so I don't make any changes to it. This layer in the middle, we're going to call this black and white. So just 2 clicks, and that will give you the ability to type in a different name for it, and then you have to hit enter. If you don't hit enter, it just goes back to whatever it was named before. And I double clicked there, and this one's going to call color. Okay, and then hit enter. Alright, so I'm going to start with my black and white layer first, okay? Now notice these are layered on top of each other, so it's like I'm looking down through the layers, okay? So right now the only layer I can actually see is a color layer. So I don't want to see that layer because I'm working in this one right now, so I'm just going to hide it. I'm going to click on the eye. Alright, so there's no change here, but this layer now is not being seen. I'm not seeing it. Okay? But this layer right here I am seeing. And you'll notice if I click off the eye, look at, there's nothing there. Now I'm going to right click on that layer and I'm going to add an alpha channel. Do you see that checkered area? Okay, when I add an alpha channel, what it's saying is if like I take my eraser and I start to erase stuff, that whatever I've erased, it becomes transparent rather than being like just a white fill. I'm going to hit Control Z and undo that. But what we really want to do here, I'm getting a little off track just trying to show you how things work, but I want to make sure this layer is selected, okay? Because I'm going to now change this layer to black and white. So I do that by going into colors. And there's a couple different ways you can do it, but we're just going to do it right here with hue and saturation. What I want you to know, click your preview button, and then when you play with your bars, you'll be able to see the difference. So this picture is getting more saturated as I bring the saturation bar to the right, and what that means is the colors are just more intense. There's more color. It's actually like just putting more color into it. And when you remove saturation, you're actually taking color out. So hopefully we'll be able to see that as I move this to the left, that the color is less dramatic as I move to the left. You'll notice, look at the hat now, it's not quite as bright. Look what's happening. Look at, even in here, these colors are starting to go a lot dimmer, more pastel looking. Okay, so eventually I can remove all of the color. This image is completely desaturated. I have removed all of the color. In other words, it's black and white. So that's what saturation is. It's the intensity of color. So if I move the saturation to the lowest setting possible by sliding the slider to the left, then I have removed all color, and it is now black and white. You can see that here. See that little thumbnail there is black and white. Okay? Now, let's go ahead and click the eye on our color layer, because I want to show you that when I do that, what layer am I seeing? I'm seeing the color layer because it's on top of the black and white layer. Okay? Alright. I'm going to show you again how to add that alpha channel. We actually didn't need it for that layer. This is a layer that we really needed in. So I'm going to right click, and I'm just going to add an alpha channel. Okay? And now this is a layer. We're going to get rid of everything in this image. We're going to delete. We're just going to erase all of that stuff in this image except for the red. Okay? And I'm going to show you how to do that really easy way. There's a ton of different ways you could go about doing it, but I think this is the easiest. So the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to take my magnifying glass and I'm going to zoom in. There's two different ways I can do that. I can make sure that zoom in is selected here under my tool options, or I can hold down the shift key. If you want to zoom out, you can make sure zoom out's done, or you can hold down the control key. So I'm just going to hold the shift key. I'm going to click. Zoom in. Oh, I can't zoom in that much, so I'll hold down the control key and it'll zoom me back out. And grab this little sidebar, scroll bar over here and bring my image up. Now I'm going to show you a really easy way to select this red, and that's why I told you to take a picture of a subject that's a bright color and a different color than anything else in your image. Okay, so grab your wand tool. So remember I was telling you about this magic wand. It's the fuzzy select tool. But you know what? Before we do that, let's go ahead and save what we've done so far. So I'm going to go File, Save As, and I'm going to call this Red Lips and Hat with Black and White background. That's going to be the name of it. The file extension is .xcf, and you are going to submit to me this .xcf file. And what that means is I'm going to be able to open it up in GIMP, and I'm going to be able to see all of your layers. So make sure you have it saved in the right file. So I'm going to go in here. I would be creating a new folder and calling it week 7, but unfortunately, oh, it let me do it. Okay, I was going to say, it won't let me. It will let you. It's just that I'm making a recording, remember. So I'm going to double click on that. Okay, so I created the week 7 folder. Remember when you type in the name, then you have to enter. So now it's got the week 7 folder selected, and I'm going to go ahead and save. Okay, and you can also tell that it's saved because now the title of this work is Red Lips and Hat with Black and White background, right? Can you hear that thunder? Great. So now I'm going to try to get my select tool. Good, it's working now. You want to try to save a lot because if your GIMP crashes, you don't want to lose all your work. So try to remember to File, Save. Now that I've got it saved where I want it, you can just hit Control S2 to save. Got my select tool, and I'm just going to click. And what this select tool is doing is wherever I've clicked, whatever that color is, it's going to select pixels that are the same color. So I'm going to have to hold down my shift key to add. And if I want to take away, I can hold down my control key. So holding down the shift key, I just click and I keep on adding more colors. And this little threshold bar down here also makes a difference. Right now it's at 15. Let's increase that. I'm going to increase it to 20. And now hold down my shift and see if that selects more. And it does. It kind of like selects more area the higher the threshold, but you got to be careful because if you have your threshold too high, it'll select too much. You can just click undo, Control Z, if it starts selecting things. Now notice I can't get that little spot, but if I were to zoom in, and I'm really paranoid about zooming in too far because if I do, the GIMP might crash on me. But if it were me not making a recording, I would use my magnifier glass and I would magnify it in so I could get really close to make sure that I'm getting everything that I want selected. And then I'm going to do the lips. I'm still holding down the shift key, mind you. Okay? I'm holding down shift this entire time because I want to keep on adding more to this selection. So just keep on clicking away. Like I I totally would go in and get really close up to the lips. Because when you get close up, you just can see all the pixels better. And you can make sure you're getting everything that you needed to get. You're going to see that when I do mine, it's going to be really splotchy because I didn't zoom all the way in. But I've done this before with the recording, and I know that if I try to zoom in too much, that I'm going to crash it and it won't record anymore. But you zoom in, okay? Zoom in. Okay, so now that I've done that, what I've essentially done is I've selected all of the red, right? Well, what I'm trying to do is delete everything else around the red. So there's this really cool feature. If you go up to the select tab up here, you can invert your selection. And when I invert it, rather than having the hat and the lips selected, it's going to have everything else in the image selected. So I'm going to invert it, and the marching ants are now going around the outside of the image and around the hat to indicate that it's this gray area in here that's now selected. So now all I have to do is hit delete. So get the delete key on your keyboard, just hit it. Delete. Did you notice that the picture underneath that was black and white is now showing up? Because what I've essentially done is I've deleted everything else in this picture. And remember how we added that alpha channel? That alpha channel made it so that this layer is transparent unless I've got something on it like this red hat. So now I can just go ahead and use my eyeball to make that black and white layer visible. Now you're probably thinking, how do I get rid of these marching ants? Those are so annoying. You're right. You go into select, none. Okay? So now you can go ahead and get your zoom tool, and you can zoom out and take a look at your work of art. Looks good. All right, well, that's the assignment. So make sure that you save. So file, save. Okay. You've got to click save right now before you submit it to me, because remember when we saved it before, all we had back then was a black and white layer. So if you forget to save it, you're going to lose all the work that you did. So hit save now. The other thing that you probably are going to want to do is learn how to export the picture as a JPEG, because right now it's a GIMP file, okay? Which means I'm not going to be able to load that on the web. I'm not going to be able to look at that in my phone. Your phone probably does not have GIMP on it, right? So you're going to export it. You click File, Export, As. And when you do that, you're going to get this new box that pops up, okay? And you notice it says ping, okay? Now if you go down here to the bottom where it says select file type, and there's a little plus box, you can click on that box and it shows you all the different ways that you could actually export this. So I'm going to export it as a JPEG. So there it is. I'm going to click on JPEG and watch what happens to the file extension up above when I click on JPEG. It changed the file extension to .jpg. Now I could have actually just gone in and erased the PNG and typed in JPG myself. But there's also, I just want you to be aware that you can go down here and select the file type by clicking on that button. Now when I click export, another box is going to pop up. Okay, and this is a really cool feature because what it allows you to do is decrease the file size. And I cannot even begin to emphasize to you how important this step is. Ladies and gentlemen, I'm not going to grade your work unless you optimize your image size. That's what this is. Okay? So you are going to click Show Preview. And I'm going to move this. Oh, there's no way for me to really move it too far because this. But what you'd want to do is, if you couldn't see your image quality, you'd want to move things around. If you click on this, it's going to bring it to the front and all these will be in the back, so you kind of have to resize stuff. But you want to be able to see your image at the same time. And you'll notice the file size is 440 your file is a megabyte, if this gets up to 1,000 or becomes 1 meg, it's going to take forever to open up. So what you can do is slide this quality bar down, and you'll notice when the quality level starts to get lower that your image is going to break up, and you're going to start seeing weird pixelated patterns here. Well, I'm only at 23 kilobytes, no wonder. 500's fine, okay? You don't need to try to get it so small that it doesn't have any quality anymore, okay? But I'm just saying that a lot of you guys are using really expensive cameras, and you're taking a 10 megabyte picture, okay? Or maybe you're taking a 3 megabyte picture, and then you bring it into GIMP, and the picture just gets huge because you've got all these layers now, and by the time I get it, it's 10 megs, okay? I've even seen kids give me a 36 megabyte image. You know how long that's going to take my computer to download that? Forever. So that's why image optimization is really important, okay? So 500 kilobytes, great, no problem. I can just save this at 100% quality. It's going to open up quickly. And then I click export, and voila. So what I've done essentially is in my picture file in digital photo under week 7 is I have two files. I have the GIMP file with the extension .xcf that I'll be able to go into my GIMP program and open it up, and I'll be able to see all your layers. And then I also have my JPEG file that I optimized the size of, and the reason I optimized it was because I want it to download quickly, okay? This is important, guys. If you're going to have a career in web design or any type of digital arts, when you exhibit something on the web, it needs to be small enough that your user is going to be able to click on the page and it pops right up, okay? If you are trying to load a 10 megabyte picture onto a website, that user is going to be sitting there waiting and waiting and waiting. And what happens? They go, I don't have time for this, and they go to somebody else's website, okay? So if you're trying to sell a product, you want your images, you want your site to pop up immediately. Image optimization is very important. If you didn't get that piece, go back and watch the video again, because I want you to submit both your XCF file